question on your audience. I know that like you had an initial audience in mind 10 years back, and then like when 2019 when you started the podcast even had a different name and like probably a different audience in mind. So tell me how you define your audience initially, and then like how do you do it right now? And I also have a follow-up question about how do you connect with your audience about what is interesting for them and like what topics should you should discuss.
So I think back at the beginning, there's probably a lot of friends and family that listen to it. If I'm going to be honest, you launch a podcast and you're like, hope and pray that somebody will listen to it, right? I think it was connecting more on mindset. It was connecting more on intentional living. It was really, like what got you to where you are today, and what were the challenges you faced. So I think the audience was listening to go, okay, how can I overcome challenges? And I think today what we did is we align our content pillars with our services that we offer for It's Simply Digital, because we do a done for you marketing package. So we align the services with our content pillars, and then we speak to our audience. So we know that our audience has some of that existing audience that we initially created, but we also know that they want to learn more about marketing. They're solopreneurs, they're entrepreneurs, they're small business owners. But then because I incorporate living a life by design and living a life by intention, I think there's this attraction of, I want that too. And I think that's where our audience sits. And then you asked me a follow-up question, and I'm sorry, I don't remember what it was.
No problem. So I was interested to know about how did you get that feedback, and how did you connect with them, and to know that like this is the direction you want to take it, and this is how you want to shape it.
Right. And I think it's really hard. Podcasting is not something where you see an ROI. Like it's not like someone's going to call you up or connect with you and go, hey, I just listened to your podcast and I want to be a client. It doesn't really work that way. But what you can do is you can look at which podcasts are getting the most downloads, which podcasts are getting the most listens, and then you see, okay, there's a pattern here of this type of podcast is really connecting with my audience. And so you could create more content around what you see as far as analytics and numbers. And I will tell you, I've been all over the board. I've had a top podcast. I think I hit the top 200 in the business and marketing for a while. I've dropped, I've gone back up. I think it all just depends. I also put my podcast on hold for a period of time and didn't create any new content for about 6 months. So people were, if they came to listen to me, it was all of the old shows. The other thing that you could do also is I like to do a mashup of some of my top podcasts. And so finding commonalities in like maybe 3 or 4 podcasts that all have a similar type of topic or something that you're speaking on. And then you could call that, 5 best ways to build a business, and then you have a mashup of those. And that's a great way to also promote. And if you're doing interview style, you could have like 3 or 4 of your top guests and do a mashup of those as well.
I really like that. I mean, I think you speak the word of how to take that pillar content and create that micro content strategy. And I think like this is something that is what you practice and also what you preach, in the sense like that's kind of what you like talk about as well. And I got in one audience question that was kind of